everyone, my name is Marianne Tripotto, and I am going to be doing a presentation on health leader assessment and evaluation models. We're actually going to be going into detail with two specific models, and we're going to see how each of the models work, and then go into how they are different and compared to each other. And we're going to look at how they capture metrics. And then we're going to see how all of that comes together. So first, we're going to get into the first slide here, which is going to tell us which models we're going to be referencing today. The first model that we have is the National Center for Healthcare Leadership and General Electric Institute for Transformational Leadership Development Construct Model. Now this model is where National Center for Healthcare Leadership and GE came together and built this leadership development model. And then the second model that we have here, which is the second one down, is National Public Health Leadership Institute model of leadership evaluation. So first we're going to start with the National Center for Healthcare Leadership and GE Institute model. So within this model that's pictured here, as you can see, it starts with governance, strategy, then goes to leadership competencies, which then leads to leadership development, and then lastly, your outcomes. Now, as you can see, it's a pretty straightforward model, and from leadership competencies, there's also talent management, which would be referenced with your recruitment and selection, job design, performance management, rewards and recognition, and succession planning. Now, governance will refer to like decision making. Then you're going to strategize, which is the second one down, strategy. Then it's going to lead to your leadership competencies, which then would lead into your leadership development. And then lastly, the outcomes of everything. So pretty straightforward model, really great in that it does have quantitative and qualitative data within this, and different in that aspect. So let's get into the second one here. We have the National Public Health Leadership Institute model of leadership evaluation. So pictured here, we have the model, and there's actually five main constructs here. We have the individual leader development, leader actions, network development, network actions, and public health systems and infrastructure development. Now, within each of these, under the individual leader development, you have greater understanding, skills, and valuing of certain approaches in public health and leadership. You also have validation of the importance of public health leadership, the understanding and validation, self as a leader, and confidence or courage, motivation, or responsibility, all within the individual leader development construct. Then you have the leader actions, which would be referenced career patterns, staying put, addressing issues, taking new jobs, also taking on voluntary leadership roles, then brought down to everyday leadership actions on the job, focused actions to achieve specific goals, and developing others. And then down below we have the developing our network development and network actions, which both are the national and organizational local state areas. And then lastly, under the public health systems and infrastructure development, you have program change and development, organizational change and development, policy change and development, and systems change and development, all within that construct. So this model also uses quantitative and qualitative data, and it is also capturing metrics would be through like surveys and interviews. So more of a subjective point of the metric. And then let's get into the next slide here. And now we're going to compare both of these two models. How they compare. So they have different domains and different constructs, different amounts. As you can see in the first model, the National Center for Health Leadership and GE Institute model, that one was more straightforward, less domains and constructs within that model, versus the second model, which was the National Public Health Leadership Institute model, which was a little bit more detail-oriented, more domains and constructs. Within that, though, they do both utilize qualitative and quantitative data within each model, which is how they would compare with each other. And then nextly here, and now we will get into capturing metrics within each model. For the National Public Health Leadership Institute model, you're capturing measures with surveys or interviews. Is a method, which this is a subjective way of capturing metrics. Whereas you have the National Center for Healthcare Leadership and GE Institute is a more direct way of capturing data or capturing your metrics. So within that, they differ in that aspect of how they do so. Both qualitative and quantitative data, though, within how they're capturing metrics. And nextly here we have, and now we'll get into the conclusion. As you can see, as reviewing each model, you can see how they are similar and how they are very different from each other. With different constructs, different domains within each, and then how they do come together in that they do both have quantitative and qualitative data within both. After reviewing each model, I personally have come to the conclusion that the National Center for Healthcare Leadership and General Electric Institute model is a more appropriate way for capturing metrics. It's very direct. I do like the idea of this model and the constructs of the governance and strategy, leadership competencies, then going into leadership development and then outcomes. I feel like it's a very simplified model, easy to follow, and a great way for leadership development, in my personal opinion. And we'll get here to the last slide. And now we have the last slide here. As you can see, these are the references. I use Ludlow and Stevens, Leadership for Health Professionals, Theory, Skills, and Applications. And then I also use the National Public Health Leadership Institute Final Evaluation Report. Feel free to look through these. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for having me.